Welcome, everybody, to the Sonoma Spiel. My name is Tim Zahner with the Sonoma Valley Visitors Bureau. This is the Valley of the Moon. We're famous as the Valley of the Moon. Supposedly, the Sonoma Valley is in a crescent shape, is one of the arguments people have said, or the way it's shaped, people could see the moon rise 7 times, maybe 6, as it transited across the valley. Also possible. Could just be that it's a good name. You know, Valley of the Moon could just be like something neat. Jack London named Sonoma Valley the Valley of the Moon in one of his books. We're not here to talk about the moon, but we are here to talk about celestial bodies and the universe and all sorts of amazing stuff. Oftentimes people, when they think, oh, I want to see the stars, they go to Hollywood. Maybe the stars go down there. Or they go to, they go to TV and they see Neil deGrasse Tyson talking or somebody like that, or Carl Sagan, depending on how old you are. And maybe they go to a fancy observatory. Maybe they go to like Washington, D.C. or something like that, or the Smithsonian or something big like that. But what people don't know is that we have here in Sonoma Valley an observatory where you can see the stars and you can see the moon. And maybe you can see quasars. I don't even know what those are, but that's a word I remember. But you can see all sorts of stuff. And that reminds me, this week I have a very special guest. Every week I know I say that. This time I actually mean it. Very special guest. She's from the Robert Ferguson Observatory. Stephanie, say your last name.
Derammelaere.
Stephanie Derammelaere.
A lot of extra vowels in there.
Stephanie D, with the Flemish name, yes, is here from the Robert Ferguson Observatory. Stephanie, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for the great intro.
Yeah, you like that one? I'm your hype guy.
I know.
You drive up the mountain to work. I'll be like,
I need to take you with me next time I have to do a presentation.
She's ascending the heights. And she's amazing. And the entire, I'll say the billions, like Carl Sagan used to, like billions and billions. And we'll pump you up.
That was amazing.
Well, thank you. Tell me about, first of all, what is the Robert Ferguson Observatory?
Yeah, so I always love an opportunity to tell people that we're here because we've been around almost 30 years now, and there's still a lot of people that don't know about us, which is kind of amazing. But we are a public observatory. So, and I emphasize public because I want people to know it's here for them. It's like a resource for you. A lot of observatories are run by academic institutions or government agencies. You can't just waltz in,
roll up to there.
Let alone, operate the telescopes. That's usually kind of frowned upon.
Yeah.
So, but at the Robert Ferguson Observatory, not only are, most of our programs and classes and events just for anybody, for the public, we call it Astronomy for All.
Okay.
But also most of all of our astronomy is led by volunteers, by docents. So, anybody can come and volunteer for us, which is a really cool opportunity, as you can imagine, especially for, of all ages, but even especially, students. We'll even have young kids come volunteer with their parents or teenagers. And, for teens, they all need volunteer hours to graduate from high school, as we know.
At the end of the year, they get that panicked thing, or the mom posts it on Facebook. Does anyone know?
Your hours. Right. But there aren't, that many opportunities to get this kind of STEM-based, hands-on experience. And so students can come up there, or anyone can come up there. We offer, to volunteer, they need to do a little orientation, and then for those who are interested, they do telescope training after that orientation. Okay. So you can learn how to use this amazing equipment we have up there, and I
never even thought about that. The kids who go up there and volunteer. That's that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole other angle.
I know. We have a lot of, and it's really, on one hand, it's sad to see those kids then leave and go to college.
Right, of course.
After a couple years, but they just have such a great experience. One story I kind of love to share. We had a young man. This is before I was there, but so several years ago, he came up with a school group, for a field trip in high school, and had no, real background or interest even, I think, in astronomy. And this one meeting with our docents there and this one experience really changed the trajectory of his life. He ended up volunteering for us, getting involved with research up there, ended up getting a scholarship to Princeton for astrophysics degree, and is now working on his PhD at Johns Hopkins studying
Well done.
active galactic nuclei. Don't ask me what that is, but
Oh yeah, active galactic nuclei. I'm a big fan. I follow him on Instagram. Well, that's a good story. So he kind of
Yeah.
like it was just that little touch of something interesting and outside the realm of what he thought was
yeah.
possible.
And we have such a there's such a kind of not movement now, but an emphasis to get more kids into STEM.
Right.
We need in this country. We just need more people going into the STEM fields.
Science, technology, engineering, math.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. There was a study that came out that said we'll need 1 million more workers in those fields in the next 10 years alone in order for the U.S. to maintain its kind of historical leadership in those fields. And so that's why you probably hear that a lot, of, let's foster STEM and kids.
Right.
And so we feel like we're kind of doing our,
You're doing a part of it there.
Doing our little part to help inspire.
So Stephanie, when you go up there, you're called an observatory, but that means you have a big telescope, right?
Yeah, we actually have three major telescopes up there. And they're all different, which is kind of interesting. So we have a 40-inch reflector telescope, and that is the largest telescope that's accessible to the public in Northern California.
Oh, wow.
Sort of our claim to fame. That was hand-built by docents over a span of like 10 years.
Okay, really?
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing piece of
So
equipment.
you're saying 40, is that the size of the mirror inside?
Yes.
Is 40 inches like across? Like it's a big mirror?
Yes.
That's massive?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's really what took 10 years to grind like slowly over time.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there is an 8-inch refractor telescope, which is the one in our dome. We have a small dome.
Okay, right.
And that's better for, close by objects like planets,
Okay.
the moon,
those seem pretty
things
far
like
away,
that.
but yeah, okay, I got it. So like observing the moon and nearby planets.
Right.
You can see, and that's because like everyone knows the dome. Well, not everyone. Anyone that goes up there and sees it goes, oh yeah, it's an observatory because the dome opens up.
Yeah.
And there's this big. Typically, we think there's an enormous telescope that comes out because of cartoons and stuff like that.
The other two telescopes they're not in a dome, but the roofs retract. So kids think that is super fun when kids come up there and see the whole roof, slide
that
back.
Is cool. Okay.
And then our last kind of major telescope, we have some other smaller scopes, but the last major telescope which is actually our, probably best piece of equipment, is our 20-inch research grade CCD telescope. So that's not one where you're actually looking through an eyepiece. It's for really deep space objects that are, and I may not be explaining this exactly right, but they're downloaded to a computer, and then we upload that to a big screen in that room so everybody can see it.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
And so that is the one we use for our own research, for astrophotography. It's an amazing piece of equipment.
So it's like a digital camera telescope thing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay. Okay, before we go into, how did you end up there? Are you yourself a space scientist or an astronaut? Or like what's your story? How did you end up at Robert Ferguson?
No. So I've always been interested in science and nature, but that's not my background.
No, okay.
I had a business background. So I got an MBA, had an emphasis in marketing. That's my background, is marketing and business development and small business consulting and PR and that kind of thing.
You'll never go anywhere with that.
Yeah.
Unless you want to start a podcast, Stephanie.
And then, so when my kids were younger, I kind of had to step back a little bit, needed something more flexible. This is way before remote work was kind of a thing.
Even an idea, right. So it used to be,
now it's like,
hey kids, back in my day, you had to wear a suit and go into the city. Right.
So I was looking for something I could, that would provide that flexibility that I could also do mainly from home. And so I wrote for some business publications, various publications, and for a long time wrote for North Bay Biz Magazine.
Okay.
And then in 2019, I wrote a big article about the observatory. And I'm embarrassed to say I hadn't been there myself.
Right.
Until then.
Like all good freelancers, I'm an expert.
Well,
I got 700 words.
Until this article, and then I did do my due diligence.
Good.
And went up there, met some of the the board members and these amazing volunteers, and spent some time up there.
Nice.
And I was so impressed, really, with the organization and the people. You know, we say that a lot. People come for the telescopes, but they stay for the people because they're just so passionate and amazing. And so I did this article. It came out in 2019. And then like a few months later, I found out that they were hiring, and at the same time, my kids had kind of grown up. They're more independent. I could do more real work.
Right, you can get away.
And at the time, they were hiring for somebody to help manage their volunteers.
Okay.
We have about 200 volunteers up there.
Oh, that is a full-time job. Volunteer coordinator is usually like 8 or 9 people you're tracking. You're 200 volunteers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So doing, recruiting, retention, training, all that. And so I had developed this relationship with them already.
Okay.
And, just submitted my resume and, met with a couple board members and whatnot. And they took a chance on me because it's not like I had done this before.
Right.
And so I started with that. And then about a year later, stepped into the executive director
very
role.
Good. Well, I know you've definitely raised the profile of it and there are a lot more public things that we know about. So being more, maybe that your PR background.
Good.
Yeah. The old North
the
Fables.
That's the goal.
And the observatory is in Sugarloaf State Park.
Yes.
So it's in Kenwood or above Kenwood.
Yep.
Which is in the northern part of Sonoma Valley. Does the state park predate the observatory, or was the observatory built in the park, or like how'd you end up there?
Yeah,
basically?
good question. No, the park predates the observatory, which kind of looking back now was a crazy feat, really, to just build an observatory. I mean, they're very, very
working
strict.
with state parks. Come on, say it. Don't say it because they're recording us. No, so
I don't know who.
It's a big ship.
It's a big ship.
Right.
It's a big ship.
So they got it built.
Are a lot of amazing people that do amazing
and we
work.
love the state parks, and I just met with them actually yesterday or 2 days ago.
Oh,
it is a big ship. You're right. So.
But it's when I think back now, like just in doing certain things now and how long it takes and everything, I think back, gosh, it's really amazing that they were able to do this. So at the time, this was in the mid-90s.
Okay.
At the time, it was the Sonoma County Astronomical Society and the Valley of the Moon Astronomical Society, I think it was called. They kind of banded together so neither of those exist anymore, but they banded together to form the Valley of the Moon Observatory Association, which is actually our legal nonprofit name.
Oh, okay.
So we're VMOA, but we operate the Robert Ferguson Observatory. I usually just say RFO or Robert Ferguson Observatory because that's what we're known by.
The DBA, the LLC, that's for tax documents.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And so they banded together to form VMOA and went through this whole process to try to build an observatory. At the time, it was just a group of enthusiasts of amateur astronomers that would go out and, bring telescopes like to the plaza to public spaces and just get not just kids and adults
Getting
excited.
People excited about astronomy.
Yeah,
Okay.
and some of these telescopes are very huge, very heavy, not easy to kind of cart around. And they thought, wouldn't it be great to have a structure, a home base? Yeah.
So they built. Was Robert Ferguson a person?
So he was a person,
Okay.
and he actually unfortunately passed before the building of the observatory.
Okay.
But he started a program that predates the observatory, so 39 years ago. I think actually this is the 39th year. He started a program called Striking Sparks.
Okay.
And he himself he wasn't a professional astronomer, but an amateur astronomer. Love of science, love of astronomy, and had this love and passion for teaching, especially kids.
Got it.
And so he started this program called Striking Sparks, which awards telescopes to Sonoma County school children through an essay competition.
Got it. Okay.
And they at the time they hand built with a team of people. They hand built these telescopes, and would award them every year. And so we still continue that program today.
You guys give out telescopes?
We do.
Oh.
Yeah, we have every year. This was the 39th year. We just awarded, we had one winner this year. a Roanoke Park student, actually. And I think let's see, I don't know the exact number, but in that time frame, in 39 years, I think it's something like 289 or so telescopes that we've given away. So it's for 1st through 8th graders.
Okay.
You have to be, Sonoma County resident.
Right.
You do need a reference letter from your teacher.
Okay.
And you need to have come to at least 1 or 2 events at the observatory.
Let me talk about those events, 'cause I like that. You guys do like open star parties. You guys do programming and things like that. What are some of these events that people can come see and do? How does that work?
So, probably our signature event that people most know us for are our public star parties. And they are once or twice a month, depending on the new moon. So we always try to do it on the darkest night.
Do it on a full moon. Okay, too bright. Got it.
So that you see more, obviously. You see more deep space objects. And so we'll get upwards of like 200 to 300 people at those events.
Wow.
They're quite busy.
Okay.
But they're fun. We open up, all 3 telescopes. We have presentations going on in the classroom kind of throughout the night. And then most nights we'll also have a bunch of smaller scopes set up outside.
How late does that go until like midnight or like?
So it depends on the time of the year.
Okay.
In the summer, we can't even start till 9 p.m. And even then, it's like a little iffy.
Okay, gotcha. That's right. Okay.
But in the winter, I think the earliest we start is maybe 6, I believe, 6 or 7. And so they run for 3 hours. You don't, most people come for like an hour or 2. It's not like you have to be there the whole time, but it's sort of an open house thing. You just stop in within that time frame. And, there's as long or as little as you like. And they're a lot of fun. And then we have, do you want me to mention some of the other events?
I want to hear about all the events.
Because there's a lot, so brace yourself.
Well, give me like maybe the general overview of ones that are like constant, because people who are listening might be like, oh, I might not be there, in June, but I'm going to be coming in August or September. Like, so what are some kind of events?
So one that we did this years ago, but we hadn't in a long time, and we reintroduced that this year, which I'm excited about. It's called What's Up, and I kind of explain it almost like a mini star party. So we limit it to about, I think, 40, 45 people. So it's kind of like a star party, meaning for families, for amateur. You don't have to have any kind of astronomy background. It's fun and interesting and educational and entertaining, all at the same time. But with a lot smaller, because like I said, this public star parties, they are quite crowded. So there's just more waiting time. You have to wait in line to look at the telescopes. You have like a few seconds to look through it because there's 20 people behind you waiting. It's just a little bit more hectic like that.
This is a little more intimate, a little more patient.
This is more, yes. So you have a lot more time to ask questions. You have time to look at multiple things through the telescopes, not just one per telescope or whatnot. And then they focus on, the presentation focuses on what's up, in the sky during that month.
What's up?
As the name implies. Right. So we do those once a month. I believe they're usually on a Thursday. It's all on our calendar. And then a few times a year, kind of depending on what is, what astronomical objects happen to be in sight during the year, we have something called a focus night, which is a presentation about that specific item. So we'll have one on the moon, we have one on Saturn. We usually try to structure it so that whenever that, for example, planet is the most visible to us in the night sky, we have one on the Perseids meteor shower. There's a few during the year.
The big events, the big ones. If people are camping at Sugarloaf, do a lot of them just wander over there during the events? Because the campground's it's like kind of across the little valley there, right?
Yes, we get that a lot. We do encourage people to get tickets online before, because some of these things sell out, especially the smaller events, where we do have to, our classroom can only accommodate like 40 people. Gotcha. So we have to, unfortunately, keep some of those smaller than we'd like, but yeah.
Okay.
And then let's see, what else do we have going on? We have a night sky class series. We only offer this every other year, and this is the year we happen to offer it. This is way more in depth. So not that you need to have an astrophysics degree to go or anything, but it probably would be helpful if you have more of an interest than
like
just
a
being
deep hobbyist, not like, oh, I want to go see a star.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be helpful just because it.
So you don't
some
need to
people
have
come just for kind of entertainment purposes,
Right, but
and so
this
they're
is-
looking for a little bit of a different experience than this night sky class is much more in depth.
So if you're passionate about astronomy,
Yeah, if you really want to learn, like if you
Right.
really, the instructor for that, Jack Welch, has been with us for decades.
Okay.
He is extremely knowledgeable, an amazing person. And it's a six session series. We encourage the whole session, but you don't need to purchase the whole session. You can do one class at a time if you happen to, sometimes we'll get people who are just in town during
And they
that
wanna do that
time
one
and they
time.
want to go
Right.
once. But it's, and it's by season. So the summer season night sky class is starting on June 3rd.
okay,
And he basically also kind of goes through over these 6 sessions all the constellations, the other astronomical objects that are in the sky during that season.
this sounds like a college level, like astronomy class, right? Like a
mean-
beginner astronomy class, but still.
A lot of our own
in-depth.
docents actually have taken his class
Right,
to learn more for their
That is cool.
volunteering.
And
yeah.
Is he an astrophysicist person? or
I don't know
just
what
super
his
passionate?
Professional
Did
background
not
is,
check his
honestly.
credentials. Why are you teaching this class, sir?
He way predates me, so I
He came with the telescope. What can I tell you? So you have that, like, that's for like the more advanced people.
I mean, it's and like I said, you don't have to have an astronomy degree to go or anything, but I think it would be helpful to have some more interest than
passing
just the
interest.
passing
Right.
entertainment kind of
Got
thing.
it. Okay.
And it's also not great for. I mean, teens is probably fine, but I
Right, not for
probably
little
wouldn't.
kids.
No, I think yeah.
Okay.
And then we have 2 to 3 times a year, we have, and I know I will butcher the name, but Observación de Estrellas. We have a Spanish-speaking, I know, I totally butchered that.
That was great. They did a great job. That was great. Good job.
So we have a Spanish-speaking start party and are trying to, like I said, we do astronomy for all. So we
Right.
really try to reach every
that.
demographic,
Yeah,
in our-
Spanish
in
is
our-
the second most popular language in California, so it makes sense
yes.
to have stuff in Spanish programming. So
And
I like
last
that.
time that one actually sold out.
I'm sure.
It
It's
it
fantastic.
shows us there's a need for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is
Cool.
great.
Okay, that's what. So, anyway, observing
It's that
stars.
one word,
You just,
I know.
observación de
Yes.
estrellas? Okay,
Oh,
so good.
That's very good.
My German's not that good, but yours is.
You got Spiel down.
I got Spiel, that's right. And möchtest du Kaffee? Do you want a coffee?
Oh.
And wo bist du? Where are you? Wo bist du?
Yeah, wo bist-
Wo bist du? So, yeah.
That's good.
And ein Bier bitte.
Everybody knows that.
Everyone knows that one. Because when Oktoberfest is the thing. Something you have that, it's not a program, you can show up anytime, but you have this neat garden that represents the solar system, right? The planet walk.
Oh, the Planet Walk. Yes.
Tell me about that, because what I like is that you don't, if you're not, if you're in town and something's not going on,
Yeah.
it's still something you can kind of understand.
Yeah.
What is this thing, Stephanie? What is the Planet Walk?
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. So it's called the Planet Walk,
Okay.
and it's just self-guided. It's in Sugarloaf Ridge State Park, so it's free.
Right.
You do have to pay for
to get in the
parking
park.
to get
Right,
into the park. But it starts around close to the observatory building. There's a big sign that has a picture of the sun on it, and the walk is essentially the solar system condensed into the size of the park.
So like a scale model.
A scale model, both in terms of distance and size of the planets to the sun. So the main placard, the main
Right.
sign with the sun is, well, I can't show
huge.
it on this camera, but
Well,
this
it's big. Yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, it's big.
And then every planet that you go
Right.
through has a smaller placard with the little dot for that.
But when you get to Pluto, which may or may not be a planet, is it just like a tiny little speck?
It's tiny. Even Mercury, compared to that size of sun, is barely bigger than a pencil tip. And so, so you can kind of get a sense both of the sizes and then these vast distances
Between
in space. So as you were walking through, like the first 4, well, especially 3 planets are pretty close to that initial sign, then Mars, and then you start hiking, and you're like, you go and you go.
My great aunt Martha Jupiter jumped straight up near. Wait, my great aunt. I don't know them in order. I'm not going to put you on the spot there. But so the one after Mars, is out there.
Yes, Jupiter, Saturn, and and they get further and further apart. And so as you're hiking this trail, it really. I always like to say for kids, but really for adults too, you get this. This just sense of how vast space is.
Which, just our solar system too, right?
Yes, yeah.
Now I'm starting to write this down because it's not my great aunt. It's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, then the other one, and then a whole bunch of others, and then Pluto.
Right, Jupiter, Saturn.
Yep, Uranus,
Neptune.
Oh, Neptune, Pluto. There was some mnemonic we had in school. I can't remember it anymore.
Oh, like
is it my very excellent? I might be mixing up Roy G. Biv, which I think is rainbows, and then every good girl eats fudge or something like that, which is like the music thing. Every good boy deserves fudge. Like the music. Anyway.
Like the music notes?
Yeah, the music notes.
Oh, okay.
Boy, we're really a long way from 4th grade. I see all this.
I know, every 4th grader will know this.
They're like, this is the dumbest podcast ever. So anytime, that's open anytime as long as you're in the park, right? The Planet Walk.
Yes.
You don't need to buy a ticket. You can just go up there.
No, yeah. Once in a while, we'll have a docent-led one, or if people have like a private event up there during the day. There is another event that I'd love to talk about because it's a new event that I'm piloting.
Wait, first time you've heard it here, listeners of the Spielers. Listen up. All right, go for it.
Because I do always like to listen to our visitors. We do surveys after every event.
Good marketing person.
I always like to hear what people are looking for, and I hear from a lot of parents that it's tough, especially in the summer months, to be out so late with young ones, little kids. I get it. You're a parent. I'm a parent.
Those little stickers fall apart. They have an invisible fuse, and you don't want them to blow up, and they're going to embarrass you. Not this ever happened. My kids were angels. Your kids were perfect. It's other people's kids are the problem. So, yes, you never know.
But bedtime is a big deal. Right. So keeping it like was it, I think before the show we were talking about, we don't even start until 9 p.m. in the summer months. Right. And so that's late for little guys. And so we're doing a family-friendly daytime event on June, I wrote this down, June 22nd.
Okay, good.
From about 12:30 to 3, and it's just a way to get some families it's geared for families with kids like 12 and under, elementary school.
Okay.
We're going to do some solar observing. We're going to have a presentation that's geared for that age group.
Okay.
Some fun activities that are all kind of solar system astronomy related.
Okay.
And so I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll
like
be
that.
fun.
During the day.
During the day.
Got it. And I think June 21st or 22nd is around the summer equinox. I'm not sure. Not equinox, summer.
Solstice.
Solstice. Thank you. You know the words. You should do this for a living. So that's the longest day of the year, right?
Yes.
Here?
Yeah. That's right.
In the northern hemisphere.
Right.
That's a smart idea because there is, I do remember when you were taking your kids someplace and they were kind of getting tired, but you're kind of pushing them. And nobody was having fun.
Yeah.
So that's smart.
I mean, and it's, we still see a lot of families come up there, and for the most part, the kids do great. It's kind of, I think it's like a special fun thing. Totally. They get to stay up late and, look at Saturn through a telescope, and they're so excited by that. Something they've just seen in a book or on TV or something, but to see it, live
that is cool.
is cool. But I just kind of wanted to offer something else that's really just for kids.
No, that's good. Question for you. What's your favorite planet?
Oh, I got to say Earth. I mean,
Good answer.
It's just amazing.
Have you seen all of them though from like up there in the can you see them from the telescope? Can you see Mercury and stuff like that? For
Oh,
your
yeah.
telescope? You
I mean,
can.
of course, it depends on the time of the
right.
year.
Okay. And don't look into the sun.
I mean, we can see galaxies that are light years away where it's so crazy because it's like a time warp. You're really looking at time.
Literally booking
from
into time, back
the
into time.
dinosaur age. You know, you're looking at...
And your telescopes up there are powerful enough to do that.
Yeah.
Because when I take my iPhone and take a photo of the moon, it's crap. It's crap. So this is a better experience.
Yeah, don't do it with
Don't
iPhone.
do that. Yeah. I can take a photo of Earth, though. I've done a lot of photos. I have terabytes of stupid photos of cats on Earth. And my dog. Yeah. But okay, so you guys can see all the different planets from your
right. Like I said, depending on
the time of day. And stuff like
right, and where they are on the horizon. We are and the reason why this particular spot was chosen in Sugarloaf Ridge State Park is because we're in a bit of a valley in the ridge.
Okay.
So it blocks a lot of the light pollution.
Oh, the ambient light. Okay.
Which is amazing. I mean, you see the Milky Way in the summer.
Right, because you have Santa Rosa right here on the other side.
Right. Which is...
And it's not a big city, but it's a lot of light.
It's a lot of light.
Yeah.
I mean, where I live in Roanoke Park, I see like 2 stars. I don't see anything.
But you can see
The moon if
Applebee's
I'm
from
walking.
everywhere. Right, so you can... Right, so it is because I have been there at night, and I did notice that.
Yeah.
And some parts
And
of
a
Sonoma
lot of people
County-
don't know. They're like, what's that fuzzy stuff?
The resolution on the screen is terrible. Like, no, that's the real world.
That's the Milky Way.
And that's the stars. You have to really get out to, otherwise, around here out to the coast, like Sea Ranch up there to get away from the light, or like Cazadero or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not a lot of places here because we are between other urban areas.
Right.
And the south, of course, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose Metroplex is massive. So
Right.
that is, I mean, I was surprised up at Sugarloaf. I'm like, wow, the sky here is really bright.
It's I mean, being so close to a
Right.
pretty good sized city is amazing. But like I said, there are some ridges around there. So when certain planets are very low on the horizon, of course, you know, it doesn't, so it depends. But
You don't recommend looking into the sun, but it says here we can observe sunspots.
yes.
So answer me this. What's going on there?
So we have special solar telescopes.
Okay.
And that is something we do not every month, but several times throughout the year we do solar observing. That's actually also just a free event we do during the day. Usually the same day that we offer a public star party, we'll often do solar observing during the day.
Because the telescopes are up there, right?
Yeah. Well, and we use other... So we don't use those 3 big ones I
Because you'll go
told you
blind
about.
or something like that? It's like, so,
and this is a PSA.
Right.
Don't look at the sun without...
Don't look into the sun, kids, without the right equipment.
Yes.
And by that we mean a degree in astrophysics. That's the right equipment.
Regular sunglasses don't work.
Right.
I mean, you really have to have the right equipment. So we do. And we have special solar scopes that we set up or sometimes you can get a filter on a regular telescope. So it kind of depends. But yeah, and you can see solar.
That's cool. And you can see
prominences
is solar prominent? Is that the same thing as a sunspot and a solar storm? Or,
No.
I'm just using words I've heard. So tell me what's going on.
No, it's and I can't probably tell you all the science behind it, but I do know that a sunspot is different than a prominence or a solar flare. And right now, actually, and what I can tell you is that the sun has these cycles of predictability where we know when it's more or less active. And this year it's at its height of activity.
Oh, great.
Actually.
In an election year, of course. When we're already crazy enough.
I know.
Okay, so now there's very active sun.
So it's a fun
stuff.
time to see the sun because it's doing more stuff.
Well, that's cool. Okay. Do people ever come up to you guys and talk about astrology and astronomy? Or are you guys just sort of do the patient eye roll you just did?
I think
because
more often
I'm a
than
Gemini
not,
and I want
more often than not, I think they just confuse the word.
Right.
They mean astronomy, but they say astrology.
I do that with ophthalmologists and optometrists all the time. Oh. So I bet you it's the same thing.
Probably.
I mean, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
So people come up there and they just confuse the 2 words, but not the actual. One is science and
Usually.
one is a different kind of science.
I mean, sometimes people get
right. They get like a little area on you.
How do I say this diplomatically?
I'll say it. I mean, sometimes people really believe all this amazing stuff that they might have based their life off of, and you, representing empiricists, might say, well, this has not been our experience because we are empirical, scientific-based people, but we welcome you up here to look through our telescopes.
That is fantastic. That was very well said.
There you go.
Very well said.
You should see the questions I get at the visitor center. Yeah, so it's you get all sorts of people.
And besides the, I get astrology or
it's fun. Like people who do the horoscopes,
or they want to see their constellation.
Yes.
That's kind of fun. It's more questions about space lasers and things like that. Kind of
they're real, right? They're real.
Throw me.
It's true. I'm waiting because that's the chip they put into me, right? It's going to get activated? No? Am I giving you eye twitches in the past 3 years?
There's been some
it's an interesting
time. Some interesting questions and
and it's actually kind of interesting.
We just keep to the science.
No, because actually part of the original like I say scandals or discussions about science and what was real and empiricism revolve around astronomy and Galileo and the church and like, is this real? Is this not? Will you recant? So it's kind of fun. Here we are 5 centuries later, still having conversations.
Still having those conversations.
But honestly, Earth is flat, right?
Stop it.
No, it's not flat. Elon Musk versus Jeff Bezos in space. Who's going to win? Go.
Oh!
They don't listen. But
Elon Musk
is going to win. But Jeff Bezos can turn off your Amazon like that. Ooh. Like he just looked you up. You just lost Prime.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Damn it.
You're never going to see how it finishes. I show you like it's over. So Elon Musk, he's got SpaceX. No, SpaceX?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jeff Bezos has Blue Horizon. And the rest of us have a thing called NASA.
Also,
there's another one, right?
NASA and SpaceX, I think, work pretty
they kind of work
closely together. Yeah.
Wasn't there another one? Oh, Virgin Space.
Oh.
Yeah, he had something too.
Branson.
Richard Branson.
Richard Branson.
Yeah, he started off doing records, and then he did aircraft, and then he did vacations and cruises, and he's like, you know what? Let's go to space. Okay. Do you think we're going to see space tourism in our lifetime? Like legit, actual space tourism?
In our lifetime?
In our lifetime. Keep in mind, you and I are both 20.
Right.
So we've got 80 years ahead of us.
I mean, I don't think so in my lifetime.
Right. Okay. Like actual, I'm going to go buy a ticket. Like the way people, Antarctica used to be, Shackleton would go there, and it was like the end of the earth, and that was amazing. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, I went over to Antarctica with my Princess Cruises, and we stopped in Cozumel on the way, right? So now it's a completely different thing.
That is true.
And I wonder if space tourism will be there, and if we should.
I mean, at some point,
I don't know.
It's got to, right? We're evolving and furthering. I mean, research is just pushing those boundaries every year. So who knows?
That's crazy.
Who knows? It is.
We'll wait for the AI masters to tell us what to do in 10 years. ChatGPT, I was being good to you. Skynet, whatever. Stephanie, before we move into answering some questions about Sonoma Valley, because you know these things. One, is there anything I forgot to ask you about the RFO, including can people book private events up there?
Yes. Okay. So we have. So like I said, most of our, really all of our classes, programs, events are public, but you can also rent the observatory. So we have a ton of, most of them tend to be, school groups, Boy Scout, Girl Scout groups, but we also get just a group of families that come together or even like a corporate retreat will come up or something like that. And they rent out the whole observatory. The Sugarloaf group campground is right next to it. Right. Which makes it really fun and convenient. So
and
people
you can rent tents there. I mean, you might not know this. People, if you don't have a tent, they'll set one up for you.
Yeah. They even have like a whole glamping thing now.
They do.
Yeah. Not in the group campground, but in the other one. Right. Looks pretty sweet.
Pretty high end.
They're going to have one, like a astronomy themed one.
Oh, really?
Which I think is fun.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in fact, you have to rent the group campground in order to rent the observatory because they're so close together. Right. We can't have like two competing groups at the same time. But it makes it really fun for groups to stay up there, and then they come to the observatory, do
cool.
a whole tour. We have, not a tour, but we open up all the telescopes. We give a presentation just for them. And then we've also, over the last couple years, have done more private off-site star parties. So that has been more for, we've gone to a lot of wineries, resorts.
I think you've come down to Sonoma State Park, maybe? I can't remember if maybe you guys have or not. Someone brought telescopes down here a long time ago. And it might have been predating you.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And also corporate retreats,
Right,
that have different...
So you have like a little star van, and you'll pack up the star van, and you'll disgorge a bunch of telescopes.
Basically,
That's
yeah.
cool.
We have a team of star guides, and so depending on, of course, their availability, they will come with a telescope and a high-powered laser pointer, and they'll do a little sky tour, and and it's really fun. So, like a typical event that we've done a lot for wineries is like a winemaker's dinner, where they have a dinner, and then people come out on the lawn or wherever they are and
That's
do...
smart. Like St. Francis could do that. Any of those places down. I like that.
Like we just actually did... This was not a winemaker dinner. This was actually a public event you could buy a ticket for at Sugarloaf Winery, which is... Do you know where that is?
It's right at the bottom. Well, it's across from Oakmont. Yeah, so Sugarloaf,
exactly.
It's a custom crush facility that
it's called Sips and Stars. They did a...
You got to have either alliteration or rhyming, so good job, lady.
Yeah, it was fun. And they had a dinner and bocce ball, and then followed by stargazing. And so that was a fun...
If you have like a Scottish group, you could do the Heavens and Haggis, and they could... I don't know. It's got to have just different
I know. My husband and I were trying to like think of a fun... We spent like a whole dinner one time... It was going to get a little punchy, like coming up with all these, planets and Pinot. Or
perfect, yes. It's so funny, especially up here. Everyone they try to do that. I don't know why.
Like, what? Like,
that's a thing up here.
Is there any astronomical object that starts with a W that would go with wine? I could not think of... I don't know.
Yeah, a W. Yeah,
that's hard, right?
Hey, folks, write in right now.
Yeah.
Astronomical W's. Maybe there's like some sort of weird planet out there.
Or with a V, like vines and...
Well, Venus.
Venus and vines.
Venus and vines?
There you go.
Oh, my gosh,
there you go. You're good at this.
Grape heavens. We'll figure something out there. What is the website if people want more information and they want to book and they want to do a big buyout and they want to donate a bunch of money? Is there one website where they can do that?
I know, because I do like to add, we're a public observatory, but we're not publicly funded.
Right, you're a nonprofit.
We're a nonprofit.
Okay.
So, it just comes from individual contributions and our event fees primarily. Okay. So our website is rfo.org.
Okay.
And then our ticketing site, where you can buy tickets to all our events, and there's a lot more information about the events on there, is rfo.simpletix.com.
Okay, and Tix, I think, with an X?
Tix, T-I-X, yep.
Not like things you get when you're hiking and you pick them out of your socks, but simple ticks like tickets.
Yes.
Okay.
And then actually one other thing I just kind of want, if that's okay, to mention, like I mentioned, we really try to do astronomy for all and reach every demographic in our county. So we also participate in a Museums for All program.
Okay. Tell me about that.
I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a nationwide program that aims to give low-income families access to museums and related venues like ourselves. A lot of the other museums in the county do the same thing, just as an FYI.
Right.
But if you have an EBT card, like a CalFresh card, you can come with your whole family and attend any public star party for free.
That's great.
And because we work so closely with the park, they also allowed us to offer free parking for EBT card holders during the course of that event.
Okay.
And so it's a totally free event for
and it's called Museums for All? No.
Yeah. Okay. So you can go to the same ticketing site. There's an option that
and a lot of North Bay museums are part of that program.
Yeah, like the Sonoma County Museum, the Children's Museum, Charles Schultz Museum.
Do you ever get in beef with those museums? Do you call you call Colette over the Children's Museum and you're like, we're taking you down, Colette, and then you talk to the Schultz Museum?
The EDs of all those museums are wonderful. I try to.
This is not a good podcast. You got to talk garbage. Museum of Sonoma County.
Okay, what could I drum up? Yeah.
Well, they do, by the way, that reminds me of a special ad. Museum of Sonoma County currently has a beer on tap display going on. Yeah, so maybe you guys could do beers and black holes with the Museum of Sonoma County.
Well, I thought it'd be so fun to have. You see a lot of microbreweries have fun names of their beers,
they do.
like Lagunitas.
They'll have you have to have a crazy name. You have to have an overly large can with an overly large and elaborate label, right?
Yes.
And like a bad pun, right? You have to, right?
And for kudos for Rohnert Park Parliament Brewery in Rohnert Park is a newer one. They have something. It's some kind of, I forget the name of the beer, but there's some planet in the name.
Oh, really?
And I thought, God, that'd be really fun to have like a
beer-sponsored. How about you do an event or something like they do some sort of contest that you don't have to drink because, alcohol and contest, but they win the chance to go up to one of your events up there, or you do a star party down in their parking lot. Yeah. I know it's kind of hard to run a park, but there'd be something kind of cool there.
Yeah.
Or that'd be kind of neat. And then, was that, which brewery was that? Was it
Parliament.
Parliament? Okay.
They're fairly new,
good stuff.
excellent. They have food trucks every day.
They do.
Fun.
That's good stuff. Yeah. Rohnert Park is the friendly city, and it is. It's not technically in Sonoma Valley. It's actually over the hill from Sonoma Mountain, and you can go over Sonoma Mountain from Glen Ellen and go down into Rohnert Park through Crane Canyon. Blah blah blah. You kind of zag around a little bit.
That's how I usually go to the observatory.
But it's a beautiful drive, and then Rohnert Park's a nice city, so it's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, we know we make fun of it because that's my job, but it's actually good. And you live there; it's a nice place. But it's my job to make fun of it.
Of course.
And so okay, so this is wonderful. RFO.org. That's the main place. Get all sorts of information in there. Stephanie, what I love about you is that you are open to discussing all sorts of things, and your background wasn't in astrophysics, right?
Right.
But you're still you're diving into it. So this is why you're going to be perfect for our next segment.
I was a little nervous about
There we go. So we have 2 visitor centers. People ask us all sorts of questions. They text us, they email us, they go on Facebook, they walk in, they even call us. People write us letters. And it's a segment called We Get Questions. Are you ready?
I don't know. I've not been properly trained to.
That's the beauty of We Get Questions. You don't know the answer. By the way, brought to you this week by the Sonoma Tasting Pass. Get the Sonoma Plaza Tasting Pass at our visitor center. Okay, here we go. You haven't seen these questions.
I have not seen these questions.
You're ready.
That's why I'm nervous.
You got it. Someone walked into the visitor center, and they wanted to find, here's the question, where can we find wineries that sell wine that we can find in our stores back home?
Oh. Why would they want to do that?
Okay.
Think outside the box a little bit, right?
This is a very different question. This is the first time that we've gotten, hi, I go to Safeway and I see wine, and now I want to go see where it's made. But then again, I'm like, you know what? That's kind of neat, because what if they really like that wine?
Oh, and they kind of want to see the
place.
That's where
it's from. Yeah, because usually we get we want to see wineries we never heard of.
Right.
So what are, in your mind,
oh gosh,
some wineries that are commonly sold in stores?
Like the big ones, right?
Big ones?
Like
St. Francis,
Behringer, Benzinger. I know
they're
Champagne,
not
but
Corbel.
And that's such a cool area.
It's a great area out there in Kernville.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. There's a lot more than you and I think. The problem is because you and I live here. It's a weird world. You need to go to a grocery store in Iowa to understand what they see. And a lot of people don't know that of just in Sonoma Valley, there's 250 wineries that are kind of around. And then the county is much more than that. So when you go to that store in Iowa, there might only be 15 wineries that they might see. And they might not be the same. Maybe in Ohio they have different wineries.
Yeah.
Because it all depends on distribution and blah, blah, blah. So here's your answer. St. Francis Winery, Ledson Winery, Buena Vista Winery, Jacuzzi Winery. That's got good distribution there. Any of our larger wineries will have pretty good distribution, but a lot of times depends where you're from.
Right.
But the cool thing about visiting Sonoma Valley is you can go to wineries you've never heard of. And you can see all sorts of new ones, like the ones at the Sugarloaf facility.
Wineries.
Boutique Hamilton Winery, Wine Snob. Now I've said 2, I'm in trouble because I have to mention all 250. But
you're going to get phone calls after this.
Schermeister, all the wineries. But yeah, so they're out there. So you're right. So, okay, that was good. You did a good job. You answered that. Good job.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
This one might actually help because I think you've got European roots. So they were also here last week. We are visiting from Switzerland. They were Schweizerdeutsch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and looking for some good hikes and walks.
Oh.
What would you recommend?
Well, I have to say Sugarloaf Ridge State Park, of
Obviously,
course.
right?
It's such a beautiful park. And Jack London is another really fun, especially if they know anything about Jack London. And there's the Wolf House, and they have a whole like self-guided, through an app, self-guided walk to learn about Jack London. And
he's still there.
What?
Jack London is still there. He's buried there.
Oh, is he really? Oh, yeah, he is. No, that's right. There's
there.
a grave site.
Yeah. You're like, what? He's still there?
And I think his
Tim,
wife
astrology.
maybe too, right?
Yeah, Charmian.
Charmian.
I always mispronounce her name. I feel bad. Yeah, so they're both buried there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's another beautiful one. I mean, there's a variety of regional parks too. There's Sonoma Mountain and Crane Creek. And
you could walk home to Rohnert Park through, I think, Sonoma Mountain, Jack London State Park.
Yeah, now they've connected those.
Is it officially connected, or is it kind of like connected, but you run across private land for?
No, I think it's official now.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Because I knew a guy who was like, yeah, it's connected, but like you kind of have to do it when no one's looking. I'm like, I think you're talking trespassing. So they
as far as I know, and so Swiss people, and I can say this because my family is from Germany and Switzerland, they will do like multi-day hikes where I have a half sister actually that lives in Switzerland, and she did a trip, where they hike from one kind of boutique hotel to the next.
Right. Yeah.
And so my husband and I thought, well, could we do that? Like, hike over Sonoma Mountain through Glen Ellen and then stay in Glen Ellen for a night and then hike back.
Yes.
That'd be super fun.
There is the Bay Area Ridge Trail, and they're trying to build it it would do part of that. It would go from Sugarloaf, cross over, and go over. And I knew a guy who was trying to do a walk from Napa to Santa Rosa. He did that, but he trespassed a little bit. But but no, you're right. You can absolutely do it. And the Ecology Center has the shuttle, right? They have a shuttle that goes between two, because when you go and then they bring you back. But yeah, so for the Swiss people, you have lots of good hikes. And to your answer, sorry. Yeah.
There won't be a beer garden at the top.
There will not.
Like in Germany.
But we'll get you cheese somewhere. We'll find you cheese.
But there will be, yeah.
And you can wear some lederhosen. So you got it. All right, you answered that one. Good job. That was a good one. Here's another one. My best friend and I will be coming to Sonoma over this summer. We have 4 nights to explore different restaurants. We're thinking Girl in the Fig, and would love any other recommendations. As far as our preferences, we are both adventurous and like most of everything. But I am from Texas, so I am picky about Tex-Mex. Everything else is fair game. Thank you in advance. So,
okay. Well, in downtown Sonoma, El Dorado Kitchen is amazing.
Great spot.
And I'm not just saying that because I have a friend who's the head chef, Armando.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Navarro is amazing.
Yeah.
But I do love that restaurant.
It's wonderful. Great patio in the back.
Yeah.
And that hotel just did a big refurbishment. Their rooms are amazing.
I heard it's just finished.
Just finished. So that's good. Okay, good recommendation.
Swiss Hotel as well is really good food. As far as Tex-Mex, this is further away, but as far as smoked meat places and stuff, there's Kin Smoke in Healdsburg.
Kin Smoke up in Healdsburg, barbecue.
And then I just went to a place in Windsor, actually. You would know this, Sweet Teas.
Oh, yeah. That's good barbecue.
That's kind of southern,
Isn't that kind of weird?
Southern,
yeah. It's kind of weird. It's in a Safeway parking lot, and it's really good food.
It is a weird location.
They moved after 2017.
But really nice bar.
Yeah, great spot.
Good cocktails.
Good answer.
Good,
And I would say for Tex-Mex, here's the deal. If you're coming from Texas, don't eat Tex-Mex here. Right? Eat Texas food in Texas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Really lean into what we're good for.
Right.
Because you might be disappointed if you're thinking oh, this is just like home. And Tex-Mex basically, I think, just means melted cheese. I'm going to get letters.
You're going to get more phone calls.
Because California Mexican is different than Tex-Mex. It definitely is. And up here we have a lot more Oaxacan influence. We have it's really odd. We have southern Mexico influence in Northern California. I don't know why that is. That's just kind of a weird thing when you go with it.
That's great.
But a lot of good restaurants. I would recommend coming to the visitor center to get some ideas.
Yeah, there's just so many.
But you're right.
Just even here in downtown Sonoma.
Right, it's a lot there. Up in Kenwood, after you go to your star party or before, you can go to Salt and Stone.
Yeah, Salt and Stone and Palooza.
Palooza's there. Ari, who's been on here before, Glen Ellen Star down in Glen Ellen. So you got a lot of choices there, Texan. So have a good time there.
Right.
This person said, I am looking for a romantic wine tasting, lunch, or a dinner in a vineyard.
Oh.
So they want to go to a romantic place for wine tasting in a vineyard. And what do you think? Or lunch or dinner?
VJB
in
Kenwood. One thing I love about them is that they have all these food options there.
They do.
I kind of wish I would see that. I think breweries have figured that out. They have food trucks at least, but not always at wineries. And so VJB, they have that whole I think they have wood-fired pizzas and deli and gelato. There's even a little coffee shop there for after.
Little deli, yeah. They even have a guy with an accordion sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have musicians that come around on Sundays and sing.
I didn't know that.
That's kind of fun.
And and it's just a beautiful property to, there's vineyards all around. So that's a really nice one.
I think it's good. So I think finding a romantic place in Sonoma Valley, it's actually harder to find when it's not romantic. Right. So and people say I want to see a vineyard. I'm always they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So almost any winery where you do a tasting will have a vineyard within,
a
bottle throwing. Right.
Yeah,
very close by. So I like VJB is a great one. I really like that recommendation. I really like Kenwood. With Father's Day coming up, I'd like to remind my kids that in Kenwood, they do sell the 10-foot Tyrannosaurus Rex sculpture at that garden store, and I'm still waiting for it. That's my whole. I love Kenwood. You see the big dinosaur? Wouldn't that look great in my little house?
Awesome. I'm sure your neighbors would love it.
Right, sneaking out between the plum tree. Yes. I've been asking for it for years. Anyway, so is this about dinosaurs? No, it was about. So you can find romantic wine tasting in a lot of places. VJB in Kenwood.
Yeah.
Vianza has a great view. Overlooking the vineyards there.
Oh, yeah.
Gloria Ferrer is right there. So, yeah, there's lots of places you can do that. And they're all romantic. So
yeah. Jacuzzi had, I don't know if they still do this, they had a pizza and wine night.
They do. Yeah.
Do they still do that?
In the back patio back there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of look over the wetlands and the vineyards. And, of course, they have the olive press there, too. So you could do some olive oil tasting. And it's a good spot. Yeah. Well, you've done a lot of... You're not always up there looking at the stars. You're out here looking at stuff, too.
Yeah, my first rodeo.
Good job, Stephanie. I don't know if you own a dog, but here's a question we got.
I do.
Okay. Do any of the vineyards in the area offer a dog hike or similar activity, like a walk or a tour with your dog? I am moving away from California on September 1st, so it would need to be before then.
Oh, God. So a vineyard that has a dog option. Is that,
yeah,
or
like a dog hike, or the ability to take your dog in a vineyard.
Oh.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
Yeah. So that's a good question, right?
It is a good question if you're traveling with your dog.
Right.
I'm sure there's some that are dog friendly. I don't. Do you know the answer to that question?
Ask the visitors. Yeah. Right. No. So some wineries will do it. Like Kunde famously has a dog hike that they take people on.
Oh, fun.
But that, sometimes that fills up and stuff like that. Sometimes you can ask a winery if you can bring your dog, and the whole joke is well-behaved dogs and kids are welcome, but as long as they're both on a leash. Sometimes wineries don't want you taking your dog through a vineyard because sometimes dogs eat grapes.
I would imagine that would be kind of frowned on.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you kind of want to make sure your dog's not doing stuff out in the vines. So I would ask, but there are plenty of places to take your dog out into open space, like some of the regional parks. You can take your dog on a leash, on
I think
a walk.
there's a dog park in Sonoma Valley, right?
Sonoma Valley Regional Park, absolutely.
Okay,
so it's right there. But yeah, I always say watch our website because those events do pop up. They're kind of random, and someone's like, "Hey, let's do a dog hike," and they do it.
Oh, fun.
Is your dog well behaved?
No.
Yeah, mine's terrible.
No, I could not.
And then my wife goes, "Well, really, that's a reflection on us." And I'm like, "Well, okay, it doesn't mean he's not. He's still terrible, and we're terrible dog owners." But he's still terrible. I don't trust people with well-behaved dogs. I think they're psychotic. I'm serious. Because, like,
what are they doing to that dog?
right. And, like, why do you have so much time to teach your dog to sit? Because, right? So, yeah. I don't trust those people. But maybe their dogs are their things, and that's what's there.
Yeah.
You answered all the questions. Good job.
Oh, except for the dog one. But
No, you answered it. You said go find more information. Just some other quick things I just want to throw in here before we get to the end here. Reminding people that we do have music in place is doing live performances on the Sonoma Plaza on Sundays.
Oh, I saw that. You were doing it this Sunday, right?
Yeah, so they're starting off, we're recording this in May, so there's stuff on May 12th, but it runs all the way through October.
Fun.
Every Sunday in the Grinstead Amphitheater in the Plaza, there's live music. So after you do the Star Party on Saturday night, somewhere at RFO, come on down to that.
That's right.
Then, did you do theater as a kid?
No.
You didn't do theater? Mm-mm. No. You never? Did you play an instrument?
Yeah.
You did?
Yes.
What'd you play?
Violin and piano.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you
So I was in the orchestra for the play, but not like...
Good for you. What musicals did you guys do like back in the day?
We did Into the Woods.
That's pretty advanced.
That was pretty
cool.
cool.
That's not Oklahoma. Everyone does Oklahoma, and you did Into the Woods. Let's do Sondheim or whatever.
That was a fun one, actually.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Well, this is your chance to relive that time.
Okay.
Because Transcendence Theater is doing Broadway in Sonoma, and they're bringing their performances. They were up in Glen Ellen.
In Jack London.
Yeah. And this year we're moving it to just north of the Sonoma Plaza. They'll be on what's called the Field of Dreams, which is a baseball field.
Is that the one like across from the depot?
It's exactly it. Yeah, it's right up there.
Cool.
So it'll be up there, and it's be June, July, August, and September. They have different weekends. They're doing a big performance. So Thursday through Sunday, people can come to Sonoma, go do some wine tasting, go have dinner, go catch the show. And then later that night, go up to the Robert Ferguson Observatory and look at some stars.
That's
Jeez,
right.
what's going on? Stephanie, this has been wonderful. You've informed us about the stars. We talked about how astrology is true and the Earth is flat. We snuck that one in there.
Our board members are cringing.
We talked about the fact that you can reserve for a private event, the observatory. You can camp. You can learn all sorts of stuff. If you're using EBT, you get free access through the Museum for All.
Yep.
I've learned a lot. This is amazing.
It's a great, like I said, public resource that I hope more people learn about and come visit us. And
I love it.
It's fun, for all ages.
Give me the website one more time.
It's rfo.org.
Okay, and pronounce your last name one more time.
Okay. Yeah, Chuck, go ahead.
Derammelaere.
That was pretty close. Derammelaere. You are still, to date, the only person who guessed the
origin of it.
The origin of it.
I was that or Dutch. I was like, but Flemish. So
I get French or Dutch a lot, but it's
yeah.
Flemish.
So I did. I had like a 50-50. So, but I can't pronounce it. But Stephanie, wonderful having you here. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
We would encourage everybody else, after you go to rfo.org and after you book your private event and after you donate a ton of money so they can buy a new telescope for a quasar, go to sonomavalley.com, check out deals, special offers, and events. Mom and Dad, thanks for listening. Larry, thanks for all of your comments. We'll talk to you guys next week.